Reuben Kimani is the CEO of Username Investments Limited. He's our next guest in the show. Username Investments Limited. We've talked about them. Salga, Delight in Nakuru, just about 20 minutes from Nakuru CBD, the new city. It's expanding. Go and build your new home at Delight in Nakuru in Salga. Now the boss is here. We're going to do what we call vetting of this exercise next. Bwana CEO, karibu sana.
Asante.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be in this show. Been listening from the sideline for a long time, but I'm happy to be here in person.
It's the hot seat of the Situation Room. Let's welcome into the show with the Proverbs City.
Yes.
This week's Proverbs are from the Republic
Of Kenya.
Okay.
None other than the Republic of Kenya. Yes. Someone had come here and said, you guys always talk about Proverbs from other countries. Kwani Kenya doesn't have Proverbs. I said, okay. If that is the case, why don't we end the year with Proverbs from Kenya? This is a simple, straightforward proverb, easy to understand.
Yes.
2 watermelons cannot be held under one arm.
2 watermelons cannot be held under one arm. Bwana Reuben Kimani, what's your interpretation of this proverb? 2 watermelons cannot be held with one arm.
That's interesting. I think they are big, they slide, they are watery, they are circular. So I think it is, for those who have done physics, it's technically impossible for you to. I'm actually trying to demonstrate. It's almost technically impossible for you to hold them. But maybe on an interpretation level, I think there are things that cannot be done together. There are things that may not be able to coexist together. Yes.
CT, how is that interpretation?
You know, the beauty of asking someone's opinion on a proverb is that they'll give you an opinion. And the beauty is, it's something you probably hadn't thought of yourself.
Yes.
Because I started talking about the features of the watermelon that goes beyond just the sizes of the watermelon we see. And you realize, yes, the things he's saying makes perfect sense. But that's what Proverbs is supposed to do. It's supposed to resonate with you.
Yep.
And it's very, yes, you'll find uniformity, but it's how you interpret it and how you relate to it. Because some people relate to watermelon when it is in liquid form. Some it's in fruit form, a really huge slice of that fruit form, yes. Others probably just see it. Now, so when you ask of this proverb, then you get to understand their relationship with the watermelon.
Others in its political form.
That's what I was trying to think about.
Please introduce us to Username. Who is Username and why Username? So it's called Username Investments Limited.
Very good. And I think for some people, the name is something they don't understand why a company can be called Username. I think I should start from there because it's a question that most people will naturally want to know. Username Investment is a unique real estate company. We are a leading real estate company in East Africa. But looking at the word username, the name username is unique in the sense that if you look at your usernames, so everyone has username for banks, for everything. Let's go to Gmail because that's what I think most people have. It's not possible for you to have, for another person to have your Gmail. It is not all over the world. So what happened is that we came from a technology background and we felt we needed something really unique. That's why if you look for real estate companies, they have names that are almost similar to a building, shamba, and something of the sort. We decided no, we wanted to be unique. But I think that's just the name. There's a Kikuyu proverb, I think is very good in them. But it's better said when you are talking in that dialect.
Say it.
They say Retwane Bokio. For those who are listening to me, what it means, a name is just something to It's very hard to explain. A name is just something to make someone grow, right? What it means for me, username it's not just the name. We felt we needed to have a unique offering. And this is 10 years ago in 2013. We felt we needed to come and offer something else that was not there. Number one, there was a lot of fraud in the sector. And we came from a professional background ourselves. I used to work in Safaricom. And my co-directors, we felt we can come up with an organization in the real estate space, especially land buying. This is a sector that has been characterized by brokers and people who sometimes are not learned, people who do all manner of things. So we wanted to bring professionalism and also ensure that there are companies where if you want to invest in property, especially in land, there are few companies, if not one, which is username, which can be trusted. Number two, I had a good pay slip at that point in time, though I left it. I was feeling people like me, I was a young person, could not be able to access the property market as it was. Because I used to look at the advert in media, and you look at the properties that were being offered, they were going for millions. And I look at my pay slip, which was better than average, way better than most people. I could not afford these properties. Then we felt there's a gap here, and we felt having interest in real estate, this is something that we can be able to deal with. I was an engineer, still I am, and we are taught to solve problems. And I felt looking at the market waters of real estate, people cannot be able to trust anyone buying land. Number two, looking at the fact that you could not afford any property, we felt there's a gap there, and that's what we felt we needed to fill in. So username, when we started, from the word go, we started offering very affordable properties. I'm talking about land going for between 100,000 to 1 million shillings. I remember one point when we started, land was available and affordable then, very affordable. You offered a piece of property in Kajiado at 95,000. And because iPhone was still there, I was comparing the prices. An iPhone was more expensive than that property. So we used to tell people, you have two choices. You can buy a phone, or you can buy a land, which is for investment. Basically, that's about username. But we also have other values which are important to us. We call ourselves a tradition of trust. That is the core value system in our organization. That's the fabric that joins us together. Without trust, our business is impossible. We wanted to create this movement where there's a company where you try to buy land, you feel some peace of mind, you are confident. So we came up with structures. We do things professionally to ensure that once you come and buy, the process is so simple. Number one, everything along the way in the process is something that you can trust. Talk about documentation, talk about site visit. I'm one of the person who will tell you, please don't buy land or even a house before you see it. Once you go there are things you'll see which you never thought about, right? Once you see the property, that's the first step. And there are so many Kenyans who buy land without seeing. I tell them, come. Because once you come and buy, I can rest well, knowing that I did not sell you something you did not want. You can invest with convenience, with confidence, and all that. So we have a big structure. We even do refunds if you want to. There are so many things, and we have something called first-class customer experience. It's a long topic, but basically we want to give you an experience. Because when you go to a bank, what do you get? When you go to Safaricom, what do you get? We are looking at other sectors as well. But when you come to buy land, what do you get? So we wanted to give you an experience that you get when you go to other corporate organizations.
What is the experience when you're buying land? So I've come to username. You've given me the properties that you have, and you tell me select one. We will take you there, or we'll organize for your visit. What is this experience that is above everything else, that stands out? What will I get?
Very good. I would like to explain the process in brief, so that especially Kenyans in diaspora, because they are not here in person. If you are here in person, it's much easier, but the process is the same. Of course, you are listening to me today. You have heard about the Delight Nakuru, the property we are selling in Nakuru, near Salga, 300 meters from the highway. You have heard us from other media outlets, newspaper and social media. That's the first thing. You get interested and see, hey, Lide, that property looks good. The next thing that we tell you to do, of course you'll talk to us, is to do a site visit. For those who are for those who are here, simple. You just come every Wednesday and Saturday, free site visit. We live at Kencom and Nakuru. For the Nakuru property, you have other properties in Kisumu. For those who are in diaspora, we ask you to look for someone you can trust. We know people are not even trusting their families, right? Someone you can trust. Let them come and see. They'll share photos. But before them, we have shared a lot of information with you. Photos, Google Pin location. Google Pin will give you a lot of information. Technology works over. I'm a technology person. So this person will give you information for your own comparison. You have already gotten information from username. That's step number 2. Number 3, you that person you have sent or you yourself, you have come for a site visit. You can select based on our maps, and it is also online. Actually, people select online as well. You select the property you want. This is called a layout. The specific plot. Number 5, number 6, they are usually the physical planning subdivided. Once you do that, the next thing you must do is to fill the documentation. Of course, you'll make a booking. We usually ask for 10%. For this one in Nakuru, you're asking for like 80,000 shillings. You do a booking, you fill something called an offer letter. This is documentation. An offer letter, you fill an agreement, and transfer forms to change the name from the company to yourself. And you must get a receipt. We have, I think the only one in the real estate industry, we are technology people. We give a receipt that is online with a QR code. Every time you pay via M-Pesa, via any bank, you get a message once it's confirmed in our systems with a QR code receipt, which cannot be deprecated. You actually point it with your camera and you see the receipt. At every process, every time you pay in username, you must get that receipt. We don't do physical receipts anymore because everyone has, including if you have a
because
you get a link with we get an SMS with a link you can open in another phone. So basically the first process is to hear about the property. The second process is to do the site visit, which is free for username. The third thing is to pay, to select the plot you want, pay, documentation. And the last thing is to get a title, which we deliver to people in diaspora if you want. The process is not difficult.
Easy as 1, 2, 3, isn't it?
We try to shorten so that people know even if you are not here, you can still invest in property and you get all the information you need. And we have relationship manager for every customer in username investment. This relationship manager works with you the journey. You see, we have like 20,000 customers. Every person is accounted for. So you should not, that person, you have to ask them, where is my title? Where is the process? Any other property you have. That's what we do. And for us, after drafting that structure, that process, we felt we are giving you an experience. You cannot get lost if you come to username investment.
Okay, so let's look at, the wider social issues around all of this. That we're in a time where folks are thinking about, okay, let me eat and survive, right? But now we're saying, here's an opportunity for you to invest in real estate. Why would it be something to invest in when we're looking at, difficult prevailing circumstances when it comes to the economy, and then we're saying, get involved in something, or you put, had to find resources behind real estate? How do we start to have that conversation?
Interesting. If you look at, people are talking about finance bill, right? The effect of finance bill. I know this was tough on Kenyans, but remember we also came from COVID. But if you look before then, we had elections, right? I keep telling Kenyans, there will always be something that can make you not invest. So what we advise is, if you look at real estate as an investment, also as a need, because housing is a basic need, remember. Just like food and clothing, right? Shelter is a basic need. Whether there is COVID, whether there is finance bill, you still need a home for your family now or in future. So we tell people you can do it in a structured, installment way, if I may say so. You don't need to have a lot of money at once. You can do it step by step. That's where, like, during this time, I've been preaching about, we are in 19th of December, right? You have to pay school fees in January and many other things. I usually preach about budgeting, right? As simple as it is, budgeting is a very simple mechanism to manage anything financial in your life because it tells you where your money goes every other month, right? So I tell people every time, please put at least 20% of your money to an investment, and your house and your home is part of it, such that even if your income is more, you can do it. What are we doing as Username? We have an installment plan, right, for 1 year for those who would like to invest with us. So sometimes you'll find that this month is so difficult, maybe you are paying school fees, and you realize your installment will be reduced for that month. But in February, you are not paying school fees. So you can increase your installment. We do that all the time when people pay lump sums. Every other month, even if you are paying a small amount, when things are difficult, keep moving forward, keep progressing, keep adding, because housing is important. As an investment, if you look at the inflation figures that have been shared, I want to be very specific so that I don't give figures that are not. If you look at the rate of inflation, then you compare with the rate of appreciation for property every other single year. And I'm looking at Gong, and this was something that was recorded. According to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in November of 2023, the inflation rate was 6.8%. But if you look at appreciation rate, especially in Gong, that's where you have most of our projects, it was 18.58%. Every time the appreciation rate for an investment, whether it's stock, whether it's property, is higher than the inflation, you should invest in that property because you are not losing money. So for land specifically, because land amongst all real estate investment vehicles, we have houses, we have land, we have commercial and stuff like that, retail. Land has the highest appreciation. So you'll never lose your money. So you just need to keep being patient. So there's the housing part, basic need, but there's also the investment. Both of them make
How do we measure appreciation in real estate? When you talk about, the value of land in Gong,
Yes.
say, in Kibiko, is appreciating, how are you measuring that?
I think, of course, as Username, we don't have like those surveys. They usually do surveys. You'll find, you look at Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, these people do surveys.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll go to the ground, they do valuation, they keep doing regularly, and they can be able to tell how the prices are moving. But I'll go very basic, even without a lot of, I'll go to the ground because you have been in this sector for 10 years. In the year 2018, actually 2017, there's a property called Gong Crescent. And there's so many people who are living there. The more we thank them for that. We are selling this property at 259,000 shillings. The same property, because you have other projects there, we are selling at 800,000 shillings. Even the value of land, if you are buying those many acres, because you buy them to create affordable gated communities, they are still very expensive. Over a period of 4 to 5 years, those are things. Actually, you go to the website, you see the price changing. Same for Nakuru. 2018, 399,000. Right now, how much are you advertising this property for?
790.
Yes. That is on the ground, even without doing a lot of surveys. That is the appreciation you get on the ground. And when Username comes in, because we create gated communities, people in Kenya, when people hear affordable, they think it's cheap. No. Affordable means that you are able to, wherever you are working, you can be able to access and buy that property. That's what it means by affordability. It's about access, right?
Okay.
So people think they are cheap and they are in a bush, in a corner somewhere, in the border of Malaba and maybe
And Uganda.
Yeah, and Uganda. No. You're talking about 300 meters from the highway and touching tarmac. We really look for properties that meet a certain criteria so that they are affordable, but they are a place where you can start building for your own family. Number two, if you can build there, those are the places that appreciate most. But I will tell you for a fact, even you as you invest, we're investing in land. look for a place that is growing. What it means by these are places where people, especially residential, because most people looking for homes for their family. If people are settling in that area, that is a perfect place to put your money, and that's where username goes. Look at our project. Of course, they are gated. They have they have gates. They have roads done. We even plant trees, street light, and all those things, just to make the property easy for you to come and start building right away. But remember, it's affordable. It's easy for you to own it
over time. Reuben Kimani is the CEO of Username Investments Limited, and he's here today. We've been talking about Username Investments Limited and the property that they have right now in Nakuru called Delight Nakuru. It's in Salga, 300 meters just off the highway, touching tarmac, as it says. 200 meters from Nakuru CBD, but they have very many other properties. The conversation this morning is on how to identify the best place to invest and the common mistakes that people make when they're making real estate investment, especially for residential, and how to avoid them.
Reuben, can you tell us, what does the market look like now? You talk about, the prices are looking good, but do we see quite some uptake from what you've seen over the last couple of months, 6 months, that you say, yes, you're able to keep the prices at a certain level comparatively to others, but then do we see uptake, and what have you seen that encourages to say, actually, you know what, this sector is doing well, prevailing economic circumstances notwithstanding, it's still robust, is it or not?
The good news about real estate, especially in our country, is that I talked about real estate being a resilient asset, something that can stand pressure over a period of time. If you look at our currency, it keeps fluctuating, but real estate does not do that. So you'll find that most people, even when things are not looking good, they are willing to keep investing. Land is an emotive issue, as you say, in our country. People really want to own something, a piece of the country, right? So people work very hard, even in the downtime. Just to answer your question of the last, say 6 months to 1 year, of course, you have seen, I would call it a stagnation. It's not a downtime. It's a stagnation where if you look at the figures in our office, because we track how people are purchasing, they have not been growing like other years. And of course, there's something to explain that. The income, the purchasing power of people have reduced. Your pay slip has become smaller. I think even money flowing in the economy for some reason, there's a way you feel, especially in the office when you are selling these properties, you see the diminishing or the stagnant number. So for me, there have been stagnation in the real estate sector over the last 6 months to 1 year. But we are hopeful and looking at the foundational factors. If you look at real estate, the reason it has to keep either stagnant, growing very slowly, sometimes growing very fast, is because of foundational factors. These are called fundamental factors for any investment. Even investors, when they are coming to the country, what you look for is a population that can be able to buy your product, right? If you look at Kenya, for example, our population keep growing. The last statistic I had was 2.6% per year. We're talking about 1 million people being born, being added to our country every year, 52, 55, that kind. But the interesting figure is about urbanization, and that is what drives property prices up. Why? Because most people, when they leave the villages, including myself, we come here in the city and our children are going to live here. You go to the university and you never go back. So that figure was counted to be like 500,000 people per year going to our cities, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu, Nairobi. 500,000 people, and these are young people. What happens? You are looking for a home for your family. The best way for Kenyans, and I think this might be even 90%, they do what we call step-by-step development, where you buy a plot today, you pause a bit, you look for a circle loan, you save a bit, you start building foundation. That's what most Kenyans do. They don't buy these ready-made houses, and that's where we come in. So if you look at the future looks good because for investors, because the need is very high. All these young people, where are they going to stay? These 500,000 people who are moving to urban centers every year, they're not going back to the villages. where are they going to stay? For any investor, that's where you put your money in. Affordable housing is a big investment. It's only that it is challenging for most businesses to make profit. But we are in that space where we provide affordable and value-added pieces of property. So the future looks good because of urbanization, because of population growth, and also our economy is growing. It may not look like it because of taxes for now, but these African economies, they keep growing, right? And the middle class, the number of people who can be able to purchase that property, they keep increasing. So real estate is something that I would advise someone to keep investing. Doesn't fluctuate like the stock market. It will keep, sometimes it stagnates. But if you look at the graph of a period of like 10 years, if I was to draw it, it will close like this.
Even
one
more.
day.
Even more than 10 years.
More than 10 years. Actually, one day, going back, I usually look at patterns. Not now. Actually, they say if you want to know someone, you look at what they have done for the last 5 years, not what they are promising. If you look at the the real estate sector over the last 5 years, the property I'm talking about, property username have sold to our customers, they have appreciated threefold, right?
Yes.
And we expect the same to continue because of population growth, urbanization. Economy is growing, and then we have new infrastructure. Places that are not accessible are now accessible. So this is something that everyone would like to put their money on. Of course, for a bright future, we want everyone to live well.
I think what also favors you is the fact that we have county systems. Because with the county system, the influx of money into the county made it possible for them to be a certain circulation of money that those areas previously simply did not have.
Yes. You are very right. Devolution is something that has worked for us. You'll find companies, especially in land, selling in places that seriously 5 years before you could not have even thought about. And actually, they are making a lot of sales, and they are opening up those places to people who would like to farm, to do holiday homes. Those are developments, right? Bring some bit of life to a place that did not have life before.
Are we going to see a level, Reuben, where this steep rise in prices is going to plateau, especially for pieces of land in areas?
I would say the answer is yes, but the number of years you need for that to happen is we may not be alive.
Why?
The reason is because if you look at the markets are driven, markets have integrity. The fact that they are driven by numbers. If there is a shortage of something, especially where homes are concerned, if you go to Europe, US, everyone has, not everyone, almost everyone has a house, right? You'll not find all these subdivision. No, they don't do that because that need is not there. The need for housing, especially the affordable, the one that you can easily access, is so high such that it will take so many years before we put our house in order. The government is trying, but we are talking about an accumulated shortage of 2 million and keep growing. Let me just to go to the ground. I look at people who graduate every year, diploma or degrees, all these universities. Look at those young people. Do they have a home?
Nope.
Look at those young people alone. I don't know how many they graduated last year alone. Now look at other Kenyans who may not have graduated and they're also young and need a home. That shortage means that we'll have many years before we sort. That time when we'll say everyone has a house, that's when we can now say, and those are many years, I would say more than 20. 20 is even short. Before we have a place where, if you look at 10 people in a room, especially young people, you guys might have your own homes. If you look at 10 people in a room, 9 of them are well sorted where housing needs are concerned.
Okay.
That's the only time a plateau will happen. And that's why we cannot compare US and Kenya, these bubbles that all of us are talking about. Because US, these advanced economies, have been building these houses for centuries, for so long, such that they reach somewhere where now they can say we have a surplus.
And the population has not stopped growing as fast as it was.
That is one of the basic reasons, among its many others.
So the need is great. That's obvious. The need for housing is great. The desire to own something is great. So then, even as you look at this, what mistakes then can we actually avoid when purchasing land that folks have gotten into that we can actually avoid when purchasing in the country today?
That is usually the first question anyone would like to know in any interview about real estate and land. Well, I will share just 3 because there are so many. The main 3 that mistake that people can avoid, people make every single day. Number 1 is failure to do due diligence. And what is due diligence? Because when you say due diligence, look legal, right? I want to demystify. Due diligence is just trying to find out, is this property clean? Is it legit? Is it okay? How do you do that? Number 1, we talked about a very basic thing. Do a physical visit to the property. Just see the property by, this is the property, these are the beacons. That is usually the first step. Most people who want to con you, they will not allow you to do that. You
Will
have
not
passed
have something to
stage 1. You can still be conned, but you have reduced the probability of being conned. Do due diligence. You can do property searches.
Sorry, just repeat that. People don't want you to see the beacons. They don't want you to do what?
People may not. Those people who want to con you, the first thing they would not want you to
When they're
do
selling air,
is to
they'll have
see
nothing
the
to show.
property.
They don't want you to see
Because
the thing.
they
Right.
have nothing to show, right?
Okay.
That's the first thing. Number 2, you have to do property searches. In the land registry, you just ask for mother title. Because most of these properties are undergoing transfer, subdivision, and many other things. You do land searches. The other thing you do, you must do documentation. You must sign documents, and that's one of the mistakes that I see many Kenyans doing. When you are buying anything, including a car, ensure you sign documents. Things can go wrong, right? We use a trust system, I think, in Kenya. We are very trusting. Ensure that you sign documents. Offer letter, agreement, because it's something that can cover. You get receipts, right? So that is part of ensuring that you are well covered. So the first thing is due diligence, just knowing is the land legit. And I usually see this because most Kenyans are not lawyers. You may not know exactly how to dip your finger, how deep you should go. So I usually tell them, just use a lawyer. That's why people go to school for 4 or 5 years. Use a lawyer if you're not able to do it yourself. Number 2, you can use a credible organization. We have invested, we have so many lawyers. We have invested to ensure that any property we buy, because we buy in many acres, 100, 300, we have invested to ensure, number 1, we do those searches, we do historical searches to know this land initially belonged to government, it moved to the second person, it was adjudicated. We follow the process, we check something called parcel file, we visit the neighbors, we'll do also identity checks, because there are people who are selling, call himself Muga, but he's not, right? Maybe they look the same and
he's Magu.
So you do identity checks, and most of those, we have a long checklist that I can share today we do as a company. So you can actually look for a credible organization to be able to invest in, so because they cover you on that part, or use a lawyer or do it yourself, right? Those are 3 methods that customers can. Most people go to credible organization because you cannot do all those things I'm telling
For
you.
yourself.
But you
Credible
can invest.
organization, what is that?
Now, that's another discussion, but I can make it short.
Yes.
A credible real estate company. I always talk about track record. For me, that's how I determine if I can actually be able to trust someone. Can we check what you have done over the last 5 to 10 years? We have been here for 10 years as an organization. For companies, you have to go back in time. How many projects have they done? And you can visit 3 of them. Take your time. Visit a few of them for you to be able to see wamefanya hii, wamefanya hii, na wamefanya hii. Is it complete? Have they done what they said? Have they given title deeds? Of course, you can go online to check for reviews. That's what we do for hotels, right? Go and check for it. Go to their pages. You'll see a pattern. Of course, if you see one comment that is bad when you have 500,000 followers.
Sure.
But if you can see a pattern, most likely you sense something is very wrong, right? So the other thing for companies that are building homes, right? They have many projects like 10. For homes, you have to finish and hand over those homes, right? Can you check, like I would say like 3 out of 10, that's 30%. Visit them, azikuwa imbali. Go and see that these properties are handed over and they have been delivered. Let me tell you, if you do those things, you'll possibly be able to catch someone who is cheating. So you go back in time to check someone's track record. That one can be able. But if you follow what we are saying in the media, on TV, on billboards, how charismatic we are, how well we are speaking.
Yeah.
Someone can easily corner you out. So you can either use a lawyer, a credible organization, or do it yourself. Yourself is very challenging.
Yeah.
Use a lawyer or a credible organization so that you can be able to invest in a place where you'll not be conned.
So what is use it? Okay, sorry, the third thing. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, I talked about the first thing being due diligence.
Yeah.
The second mistake Kenyans are making very fast, they buy overvalued properties. It can be legit, it can be genuine, but it is very far away. It is not worth the amount you are putting in. As an investor, that's a huge mistake. It's buying stock when they are overvalued, right? They'll never appreciate, right? There are so many Kenyans who are doing that, and I feel for them because that property will never appreciate. The reason we sold this property at 399 and right now is 800 because we usually ensure that the pricing is correct. If it is not correct, that property will not appreciate. You're actually buying at a price when it's like it's appreciated. So what you do in regard to that, for those who are listening to me, do basic research. And of course, these days you can even go online. Look for properties for sale in Nakuru. Utaonyeshwa so many of them and you can be able to shop and compare. Alternatively, though that is a cost, you can hire someone to do valuation for you. It's not expensive. Basic valuation so that you don't buy something for $1 million. It was worth $500,000 because it will never appreciate. Basically, you wait for years and years so that you dispose it at a higher cost.
I think that's where a big challenge comes in. And I know, yes, land economists and the surveyors will come to a place and they'll do the valuation. All right? But what is it based on? When you say that
the science of valuation,
you've gone here and you found, let's start off this property at 380,000 shillings.
Yes.
All right? What determined the 380? What informed the 380? And what informs the current 800?
For username.
How do I know that this then will actually appreciate when you have hit 790?
Why 380 and why not 150 or why not 1 million?
Very good, very good question. For username, like I said, markets have integrity, right? Try to sell something at a higher price than it is worth, it will go very slowly. Of course, there are few people who might buy it because they don't know, but most people will not. What happens is the markets have, if you are selling sugar, right? And you have 5 shops. This one has 200, 180, 190, 170. In Kenya, most people will go to the one selling at 170, right?
Yeah.
The guy who is selling at 200 at some point will be forced to lower his price because your stock will stay there. So, number one, the prices of land is determined, number one, for most organizations by how much you bought that property for, right? Because you are in a business, you have to make a profit margin.
Yep.
How much do you buy for? That's usually the first thing. So if you buy at the wrong price, because you have refused to buy many property, because if it's overpriced, we don't buy. That is one thing. Number two, we have to do market research to find out how much our properties being sold in that area. In places like Nakuru, where we have more than 10 projects, right? We have been there for long to know this area is going for this price. So we cannot be able to overquote or oversell. And for username, by the way, if you go to any area, you'll find that username has most likely the best price in terms of the lowest price. That's what I would say. Because we are selling at wholesale prices. We are not selling at retail. People buy and it goes very fast. After that, people sell for higher margins. So there's that aspect of market research, trying to find out what is the actual value of that property. And that's how you find that even in Gong, especially Gong has appreciated too much. We knew.
Too much?
Yes, a lot.
Over 1,000%.
We are talking about selling a property in 2018 at 259,000, and customers know this. The same property going for 800 to 1 million shillings, and people are saying, basically it's because there was no infrastructure. We knew that. There's no tarmac. It was done. There's an SGR station there. It passes along that route. Number two, which is the biggest determinant, people found that it's just 40 minutes drive from on tarmac from Nairobi. It's actually 40 kilometers or thereabout. Not 40 minutes, like 40 kilometers. People can live there, right? Even you today, if you want to build a house, you can live there. Imagine buying land at 300,000, and it's a place where you can commute, come here to work, and go back without problems. That is so affordable. But because of that, most people are trying to access the same property. The demand increases, the prices keep shooting so fast. You will find very huge houses. And what happens in real estate, if you have a place where the prices are way below, the market pushes that prices to be at par with other areas which are of equal distance, similar amenities. Like if you look at Ngong, it's the same distance with Rongai, right?
Yep.
Rongai was so expensive. So I used to tell guys, Rongai is selling at 2 million to 3 million. This price, even right now, is less than 1 million. One day it has to match what is in
Get to Rongai.
Yes, that's how market work. So if you know that, you invest here, don't buy in Rongai, buy here, buy 2. In 5 years' time, it will try to match, and that's how you make your gain. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm trying to extrapolate. But the question of the science of valuation, I may not be able to answer that properly. What do they base it on? Basically, they usually look at the amenities. In that area, is there tarmac, there is water, there is electricity. How is it to reach town?
It's called a competitive landscape.
Yeah.
Yes.
A valuer may be able to explain to you in detail the science behind it. But there is also, I know what you are worried about is the objectivity, right?
Yeah.
There is usually some place where you have to depend on someone's opinion. And people's opinions are different. And of course, you have to respect them.
And then there's also future prospects, which you've actually just been mentioning.
Yes.
Because the future prospects play a very, very important role in exactly what we're discussing.
I think something that is important to mention when properties are concerned, there's usually that aspect, just like any other market, sentimental aspect. There's a science, but there's a human part, right? If people want this area, even if it doesn't make sense, the properties will
go.
Yes, there's that component of the human aspect that pushes the demand up, right? People just like this area. There's that aspect, it's a certain percent, but there's also the scientific. Is there water? Is there electricity? And by the way, those properties also appreciate because we do value additions. We have done roads in places that did not have road. We do boreholes, we plant trees. We do, of course, a gate to just make the place presentable.
And it raises the value.
Of course.
Yes, it does.
Because it makes it easy. A place that you could not have built a house, right now you can.
Yes.
And 10 people can
come.
100 people can.
Yeah.
We have an estate in Nakuru. We sold at 2018.
What is this?
It's called Springfield, Nakuru.
Where is it exactly?
It is just next to what we are selling, the Delight Nakuru. We have more than 200 houses. What do you expect? Anyone who is building in that area, they want a community.
Yep.
They want a place with borehole water, roads, security, and comfort. A place where you feel you are not alone.
It will improve.
So among all the other places in that area, the prices goes up.
Reuben, thank you very much for joining us today. What's the username website?
Username, if you want to reach us, usernameproperties.com. Social media, look for username investment.
Across the platforms.
Across our platform, in Twitter, in Facebook. We have the biggest following in Facebook. It is our office.
Okay.
Yes, and come and talk to us. We have the Delight Nakuru. We actually have, allow me to say that in 1 minute. We have a Furahia Christmas campaign where we are giving a voucher. You see, we are in holiday season. You want to go and shop for your family. Every time you buy some of our property, and we have really priced them so well. Because of finance bill, COVID, we have actually been giving a lot of discounts. This is a good time to keep buying properties. You get discounts you cannot get when the economy is doing so well. We have Furahia Christmas in a username. Come and buy from us. We have properties all over the country. We have Kisumu for 70,000. We have Delight. That is the hottest cake. In Nakuru, we have in Juja, Royal Court in Juja. We have another property also in Nakuru called Serenity Springs. Basically, we are all over the country. Come, we are affordable. We add value to our properties, and you can trust us, right? Thank you so much.
Usernameproperties.com.
usernameproperties.com.
That's where you go and you find the information. Reuben Kimani is the CEO of Username Investments Limited.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.